Editing my work in progress, day 4. As you can tell, I am not at my computer. I'm back in my glamorous basement because I have laundry. There's always something to do, and I'm trying to focus as much of my time and energy as possible on my manuscript, but I still need to keep up with the house. So here we are, getting a load of laundry started. I've spent a lot of my time focusing on my fast drafting and my editing. So I do need to do a little bit of catch up, and it is just laundry day. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on for right now. And then once I get this started and running, I can start editing again. Now, I do double up on my projects when I'm working because I can run the dishwasher, I can start the laundry, I can do all of those things and have them running in the background while I'm editing. The challenge is that when I get to a point, I need to stop and put away the dishes, or I need to stop and fold the laundry and put that away. So I try to get it started, let it run throughout the course of the day, and then do my writing or editing in the background. I will admit that I am a little behind on some of my more intense household chores because I've been putting them off in favor of writing and editing. Oh, I had to carry my laundry down a flight of steps to the basement, so I'm a little winded. But I did do my morning shower, and we've done breakfast, and I've put those dishes in the dishwasher, and um, like I said, I'm starting laundry. So then I'm going to finish and post this video, and I will get down to work. So let me leave you here for a moment, and I'll be right back. And I'm back at my desk. As you can see, I have my document on the document holder back here. This is my printout of the beta notes for Restless Spirits Book 2. The manuscript is open on my right screen again, and I have my electronic version of the beta notes on my left screen. I am starting the day on chapter 9 of 18, so I'm about halfway through the edits on this, and I think they're going well. I may be adding another chapter, which could be 2,000 to 3,000 words, because I let a storyline drop a little bit and I need to resolve that. So based on that feedback, I will probably need to add a chapter somewhere toward the end of the book. So I may end up with 19 chapters instead of 18. I'm still not sure how that's going to play out. But as you just saw, I did start my loads of laundry for the day, and I will be obviously folding and putting those away later on. But in the meantime, I'm going to finish up on this video and get it posted so that I can get back to work. Now, something I wanted to discuss about the writing process is distractions, which is why I started today's video with chores, because there are always distractions when we're working. And it's not just external distractions, they can also be internal. So if you are someone who is an artist or a writer, you may be able to relate to this. But as JT and I were having breakfast this morning, we were chatting, and I made a comment about a story idea. I won't discuss the details of the idea, but I was just like, wouldn't it be interesting if we did X and versus Y on a story? And JT's eyes lit up, and he kind of started running with it. So I will admit that I can be quite a distraction because I I like to think of my mind as an idea factory. I'm always coming up with new ideas, which is challenging when I'm trying to finish the ones I'm working on. And I do like to share the love with my awesome husband. So he is currently working on the book that he has been working on for the last several weeks. But in the back of his mind, he's now working on what happened if we did X versus Y. I can be so evil that way. It is not something I do intentionally. It's just every once in a while I'll have an idea pop into my head, and JT and I discuss everything. So I happened to mention it, and it just really resonated with him. And I suspect there may be another book coming out of this somewhere along the line, which, if we're going to talk about one of his recent books, Finding Salvation, that also came about as a result of something that I said because we were looking at pre-made book covers, and they will give them fake titles to show off the potential covers. And we were looking at science fiction in particular, I think. And there was a cover called The Sex Bot Revolution. And I mentioned that. I was like, oh my gosh, you have to see this one. It's so funny. And he took the idea and he ran with it. And that turned into Finding Salvation. So it the two of us play off each other pretty well, I think. We have very similar mindsets, and our tagline is two hearts, one brain cell. So we do have a lot of very similar thought processes, but I will say that our writing styles are very different. I have mentioned that he can just sit down and tune out the world and work, and he likes to call it vomiting on the keyboard, whereas I'm a lot more measured. I try to plan things out. I like to research. I like to outline, and I do have trouble pushing out distractions so that I can focus on what I'm working on, like thinking about all the chores that need to be done around the house that I've been neglecting. So that's my little discussion today. I thought it would be interesting to talk about not only all the things that make it challenging to focus on a writing project, but the fact that it's not just external distractions. The mind can be a very complex and distracting thing. And I have part of my mind working on Restless Spirits Book 2. Another part of my mind is still mulling Battleborn Bride. And then I'm coming up with random ideas out of the blue. So my mind is just all over the place. And that is one of the reasons I'm trying harder to focus, why I put aside Battleborn Bride so that I can just get the editing on Restless Spirits Book 2 done. I'm trying to minimize my distractions as much as possible, but things still need to be done. Groceries, laundry, housekeeping, meals, all of that good stuff. You do need to get through the days. And I mentioned the other day, I think in passing, that I want to fix up my yard. And I don't know that I ever finished that thought. Part of the reason I mentioned that was that I have been thinking about going out to fix up the yard because right now it's just a sea of weeds. It happens inevitably this time of year, and the weather was wet but not cold. So we have a lot bigger weeds than normal for this time of year. And my plan for many years, which I just haven't gotten to yet, is to somehow do more hardscaping to prevent the weeds from coming up so thickly, because we have a very narrow yard and there's not really a lot of room for landscaping. And the reason I really want to clean up the yard is so that I have fewer distractions, especially at this time of year. But also, I've mentioned previously that in the evenings, I just kind of run out of steam and end up sitting in my recliner watching TV. What I would like to do is have some outdoor space where JT and I can sit and enjoy the evenings because it cools off nicely here in northern Nevada. And we would get some fresh air. We could just sit and chat. We could do outdoor movies on our patio because we do have a movie screen and a projector that we got during COVID because we were not going to the movie theater. So we could do outdoor movies on our patio very easily. We just need some comfortable furniture and have the yard cleaned up a little bit. So that's where I was going with that thought the other day, but I don't think I actually ever followed through and talked about why I was thinking about cleaning up the yard. And that comes back down to those distractions again because if you've watched my videos for a while, you will tell that I go off on tangents pretty easily. I'm trying to rein that in. I'm trying to be more linear, but it's hard to break old habits. So that's just my chat today about editing my work in progress book 4. I am making good progress. I do feel like I will easily be done before a week from tomorrow to get that back to my editors. That won't be an issue. The next couple of days, I probably will not get a lot of writing or editing done. Tomorrow, I'll probably get some. I'm not sure about Saturday because we have an event. We'll be at the Nevada State Museum. That is a morning event, so I will have some time in the afternoon. Maybe I can get an hour or two in. I'm trying harder to do that when I'm out and about so that I get into more of a routine that when I'm tired, I can still sit down and try to focus. So I'll bring you along and let you know how that goes. But in the meantime, I think I'll cut this here and get it posted. And that way I can get back to my editing and finish up the laundry. So I hope whatever you're doing today, you're having a good time, whether or not it's chores because they never end. And that you're looking forward to a nice weekend. It is Thursday, April 9th, 2026. We are looking toward the weekend. It's looking like it's going to be cold and wet here in northern Nevada. So that makes me feel a little bit better about not getting any yard work done. Not to mention that editing. But I hope it's really nice where you are and that you have a wonderful day. And I will talk to you again tomorrow. I'm Cassidy Carson, and this is The Life of a Writer. Take care.